Can you proceed with the roll call?
Yes. Good morning, Harrison Plord, Assistant Director with El Paso MPO. And I'm going to go through roll call for this meeting of the Transportation Policy Board, beginning with Chair Senator Cesar Blanco.
Here.
Vice Chair Mayor Javier Perea. Commissioner Jackie Butler. Mayor Rudy Cruz, who is, I believe, on virtually. Representative Chris Canales. Mayor Ramon Cano. Mayor Miguel Chacon. Representative Alejandra Chavez. Senator Joseph Cervantes. Aaron Chavarria.
Here.
Anthony DeKaiser. Representative Art Fierro.
Present.
Commissioner Gloria Gameros. Representative Mary Gonzalez. Yvette Hernandez. Commissioner Ileana Holguin. Mayor Renard Johnson. Mayor Martin Lerma.
Here.
Dion Mack. Representative Joe Moody. Representative Eddie Morales. Mayor Diana Morillo. Tony Navarez. Representative Claudia Ordaz. Representative Vince Perez. Mayor Rachel Quintana. Mayor Andres Renteria. Judge Ricardo Samaniego. Representative Sarah Silva. And Tomas Trevino. So we have 16 members, so nobody leave.
All right. Quorum is established. Marisol, do we have any on signed up for public comment?
Yes. Mr. Rene Rodriguez for public comment.
Do we want to wait for the item or do we want to go ahead and take?
It's a general.
It's general, okay. Mr. Ramirez, please.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Board members, I used to be a board member. And at that time, my name is Rene Rodriguez. I sat with some of you here. The reason for me being here is because I put a project called the Arterial 1, and Socorro has been moving it around. And my question is, because I've been asked this question, and I would like to know, is Arterial 1 had already initially there's the first time it was presented, they already gave us a route that we needed to go to. Socorro took it upon themselves to say, we don't want to do that. They did another study. What I want to know is, could the city of Socorro, if they come to their senses, go back to the initial, the very first one, and go and approve that one? That's the only question I have, because you're gonna displace more people in the second one than the first one. So that's the only question I'm asking, is if Socorro does vote in January, could they vote on the first one, then the second? That's all I want. It's just a yes or a no. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for the comment. We can't really discuss it at the board here, but we'll get with you after the meeting and we can discuss it, or we can arrange a time separately when we can meet about it.
Any other public comments? That's it? Okay, great. Harrison, you can go ahead and start with the agenda.
All right. So before we get started with the items, we do have one change to the agenda that we'd like the board to consider. This would be to delete items 2B, 2C, and 2D.
We have a motion approved. Motion approved. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, thank you. So we'll move on to item 1, discussion and action to consider approval of the minutes of the September 19th, 2025 TPB meeting. And the minutes should have been in your backup. So if there are any changes, please let us know.
Chair, move to approve.
Second. We have a motion to approve. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item 2, discussion and action to consider approval of an amendment to the amended Regional Mobility Strategy 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and the RMS 2025 through 2028 Transportation Improvement Program to just A, amend the Horizon City Socorro Bus Circulator Project to reduce CMAQ funds from $923,784 to 0 and add the same amount of carbon reduction program funds for an unchanged total project cost of $923,784 in fiscal year 2026. And we have Andres, who will give a short presentation.
Hi, good morning, policy board members. My name is Andres Lucero. I'm a transportation analyst here at the MPO. As Harrison mentioned, today's amendment is going to be for the Horizon City Socorro Bus Circulator. We're going to be, just to give you a little background information, as you all heard in the training about our Transportation Improvement Program, which is our TIP, which is our 4-year fiscally constrained plan, and about our MTP, also about our State Transportation Improvement Program, known as the STIP. So whenever we do a change on the TIP, we also do it on the STIP. So this item is to approve the amendment for the Horizon City Socorro Bus Circulator Project in the MTP on the TIP, so we can include it in the November 2025 Texas STIP revision. And then as Harrison also mentioned, pretty much we're just replacing $923,784 in CMAQ funds and putting them with CRP funds. And the total project cost remains the same. During our TPAC meeting on October 1st, 2025, TPAC approved the Horizon City Bus Circulator Project, so it can be amended. That's it.
Is that
Thank
everything?
you.
Great. Members, any questions? Representative Menace.
So last month, we also, I guess there was the over-programming, so we changed funds from CMAQ as well, and so this is an additional, is there still, with a 25% reduction in CMAQ, do you guys still anticipate that we need to transfer over more funds from CMAQ, or is this it, or where do we stand on that?
So this is, the other items that we deleted are also changes in funding because of the reduction in the CMAQ funds. So there's other projects that need to be updated. What we brought to the board in August was kind of the full list of changes that needed to happen to account for that reduction in CMAQ. So at that time, the board kind of approved the strategy. And we're coming back with the individual items for their specific amendment authority now.
So the total cuts, I guess, is roughly like 12 million, or what's the amount that has to be?
I don't know the dollar amount off the top of my head, but the initial year CMAQ reduction is about 25% of our CMAQ funding.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
Chair, move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second. We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Let the record show Representative Gonzalez is present.
All right, item 3 is discussion and action to authorize the executive director to execute task order number 8 with the University of Texas at El Paso for services related to multi-pollutant air quality assessment for an amount not to exceed $36,904. So this is in ways, a continuation of work that the MPO has been doing with UTEP using TCEQ Rider 7 funding to do research on air quality emissions in the region. This is also a new element of the same kind of work. So we are hoping that we can get started with this task order right at the beginning of November, which is why we have it on the agenda today. The project will go longer than the funding that we're adding right now. So we're going to come back early next year with an update. And the reason for that is because our new Rider 7 funding, we cannot start using until the new year. But we want to get the project started as soon as possible. So that's why the dollar amount that's on there now is the dollar amount that we're showing. We have Dr. Ibara here, who can give a short presentation on the details of the actual project.
Good morning, everyone. I feel privileged to come here and address all of you. I'm Dr. Ibarra Mejia. I'm presenting the UTEP and the Center for Transportation and Infrastructure Systems. So basically what I want to convey to you, the message is the need to complete this project in doing what we call a seasonal characterization. And why is this important? So you can, I'll just move the slide, please. Next slide.
May I ask you to just speak into the mic?
Yes, of course. Is that better? Okay, perfect. Can we have the next slide? This is going to be very quick. So this is basically, the need to complete 1 year of measuring or monitoring the air quality at the ports of entry in Bridge of the Americas and Santa Teresa, and we're looking at the exposure for particulate matter in both pedestrians and the occupationally exposed personnel at the bridges of those ports of entry. And the importance that we have is that we don't have a 1 year completion, and that is very important to establish the seasonality. And this seasonality is very important, especially in the winter months. Next slide, please. So how do we execute? Well, the plans that we are doing here to execute is just to continue monitoring for the next months. Then we will develop more modeling, right? Real modeling, taking into account the seasonality of the events, and not only just considering spring, summer, and fall, but also the winter. At the end, we will deliver complete full models, workable models that can be used for policy, taking policy decisions. And the timeline is very simple: is we start on November 1st, and we will deliver by March 31st. The next slide, please. So why will this succeed? This is very simple. We've been doing this. Our method has been proven. We have shown that we can deliver, and we have everything in place. We're not trying to come up with anything new. We have everything, all the methodology established. What we need is just more data to build a more robust model. Next, please. So the decision before you is basically to make an investment in a project that will deliver a quality information that will allow you to make decisions about emissions and related to slow moving traffic at the ports of entry. It's very simple, right? Next slide, please. So what do we can do this? Well, we know that we are committed to deliver. We already have proven that we can deliver. The timeline is very simple, starting November 1st and ending on March 31st. In the meanwhile, we are planning to come up with, we already have come up with another plan to supplement the current research that we're doing. The project is already the team that has been established, and the MPO has already worked with UTEP and with the CTIS. And what we are basically telling is that if you have any questions for me, I'll be gladly address them. It is a project that most of the funding is going to fund students. We have been developing a workforce. Workforce has already developed. We need to start from scratch, and everything is running smoothly. So this is just to probably keep momentum so we can finish the task that's at hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Members, any questions?
Question, sorry, my.
Yes.
So it's, the scope of work or the task is data collection, but is it also complemented with recommendations of how to alleviate some of the?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it's coming because we're looking at exposure to personnel and pedestrian. And of course, we're going to deliver recommendations to mitigate. I mean, we know we can probably not completely eliminate, but how to mitigate it.
Thank you, Chairman. If I read it correctly, the study is going to be limited to Boda and I think to Santa Teresa, right?
Yes, sir. At this moment, yes.
And how long does this study valid for? I mean, how long do we use it? How long is the study valid for that we use the baseline that you all provide the deliverables?
Well, the validity of the data is, well, we're going to collect for 1 year, but validity of the model, right, that we're going to deliver it's a prediction model, so we can use it for future years. Of course, depending that the conditions more or less do not change much.
And I guess my question is probably more for MPO staff. I mean, with the changes to Boda and with the pedestrian traffic and the increased traffic at the Isleta port, I guess, I mean, what's the rationale for studying Boda versus the Isleta port of entry? Because there's so many changes happening at that port. I mean, it would just seem like that would be a more logical baseline for air quality purposes rather than Boda.
This is the first baseline. Our next steps actually to increase to other ports of entry.
And so that would be like next year, or was that?
In theory, if we are successful, yes.
And I guess how do you all account for the changes that are going to happen to Boda? I mean, if there's going to be a fundamental change where there's not going to be any more truck traffic.
Well, we're not measuring truck traffic, which is just
Air quality.
air quality. But the other thing that I probably forgot to mention is we are taking on weather parameters, right? Increased dust storms, increased temperatures, all those kinds of things. So all this fits into the model.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Ivana.
Chair, I move to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, item 4, discussion and action to authorize the executive director to execute task order number 2 with HDR Engineering Incorporated for services related to the Border Highway Connector Phase 2 Traffic Impact and Improvements Feasibility Study for an amount not to exceed $1,015,661.27. So that's a big number, obviously. We set aside $2 million or programmed $2 million for the project in total. This task order is going to encompass a lot of the public outreach, a lot of the stakeholder outreach, the data collection and existing conditions report. So the bulk of the front end of the project activities.
Any questions? You have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. We have a motion to approve. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 5, discussion and action to consider approval of amendments to the EPMPO bylaws. So we last amended the bylaws in May of 2024. You know, we try not to go in and amend them too often if we can help it, but every now and then it's good to take a look and check and see if anything needs to change. One of the aspects that kind of spurred us to look at the bylaws this time was the composition of the board and the fact that we've had some difficulty this year in reaching quorum to actually hold meetings, which, you know, obviously is a big concern for us. If we can't have a quorum, then we can't get necessary business completed. So that was kind of the origin point. We're addressing that a little bit with these proposed changes. And then there are a few other things that we're proposing as well. So there is a presentation.
Yes, we need the presentation.
She gets here.
So the presentation will essentially reproduce the bullet points that were on the summary sheet, explaining the changes. If you want to take a look at that while the presentation is coming up. But as I said, there are proposed changes to the composition of the Transportation Policy Board, namely to remove the two state elected officials on the New Mexico side from the board, and to add South Central Regional Transit District as a board member. So that would reduce the board size from 30 to 29, and therefore reduce the quorum requirement from 16 to 15. So that helps us a little bit, as little as possible, but even one reduction is better than none. Let's
I'm sorry, were you finished with the attendance, not the attendance, but the membership?
So the other change related to the TPB, it's not a change to the board exactly, but we were adding language, essentially inviting a representative from Ciudad Juarez, from the city government, to attend board meetings as a non-voting, non-member. So essentially, it's just a formal invite for them to attend on a regular basis, has no effect on quorum or voting weight or anything like that. And we're proposing the same, a similar position for the TPAC, but at a staff level with EME.
Representative Gonzalez.
Thanks, Senator. Did you talk to the New Mexico people just to make sure they're okay with this?
Yes.
Made significant outreach.
I mean, I'm not, but I'm just curious, like, I would hate to like find out, hey, you know.
Yeah, you're right. It's something that MPO staff has attempted to do in the 11 years that.
They have not been responsive.
Never received
Okay.
responses. No, they haven't attended meetings. And so it just, it makes sense to move forward to decrease. This is one of the largest MPOs in the state. So we want to make sure that we're being able to make quorum is important, obviously, to based on our training today. So to answer your question, yes, we've done the outreach.
Thank you.
Let's jump forward to the next slide. Okay, so those are the changes to the TPB membership that I already mentioned. So next slide. This is regarding the TPAC membership. We are proposing to add El Paso Area Transportation Services, the LGC, as a member to the TPAC. So that will increase the membership there from 17 to 18. That also increases our quorum. But we don't think that's going to be an issue. We hope it's not going to be an issue. And it's important that they're included at the technical level as well. And there's also, you see here the reference to the non-voting, non-member representative from EME. So staff level from Ciudad Juarez. Next slide. And so these are the other amendments. I'll read here. Got glare over there. So the other major change, it's not a major change, but we are in a situation where the board membership as it stands currently can and often has for the last few months created a double quorum where there's a quorum of the county commissioners court at TPB meetings. We've been handling that through basically additional announcements at the beginning of the TPB meetings, stating that this is also a county commissioners court meeting, but no action will be taken. There are no items on the agenda. So that hasn't been a problem. There was a concern brought up by our legal counsel about how we can functionally go into an executive session as a board when there's a quorum of another board that is not privy to the matters being discussed in the closed session for the TPB. So we are adding language about how to handle that situation, which essentially amounts to whatever entity is creating that secondary quorum will need to not have a quorum in the closed session for the TPB. So one member needs to leave the meeting, not be part of the closed session. And the amendments as written up right now have that member not being part of the closed session being determined by drawing lots. Essentially, we put everybody's name into a hat and pull out one who's not going to participate. And we would do that every time we went into a closed session.
To be clear, not everyone's name, just the 3 members of the county.
Right. Yes.
Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry.
And if I could just add a little bit to that. So the reason everyone has this sheet is just a request that the county is making, that instead of doing it by lot, where the names would just be picked out of a hat, to allow the 3 of us to decide which 2 should participate. So for example, if an item is going to be discussed that is in Commissioner Butler's precinct, then she should obviously be allowed to participate and not have to do the lot. If for some reason we can't come to an agreement amongst ourselves, then we would do the lot process. But that's what this proposed language is on this sheet that everybody has. Just basically letting us, the 3 of us, determine which 2 of us should participate.
Yeah, the challenge with that, Commissioner, is that part of the language that is in what you propose is that the individual commissioner that was in executive session prior to that be the individual that's in the next executive session if that issue comes up again.
Yes.
What happens in the case if that commissioner is not present?
Oh, well, then there isn't a quorum issue, so then the other 2 could still be.
It's written in the bylaw specifically that one commissioner remain on that. The other,
Maybe we just have to explain that a little bit better, that specific situation.
that would, yeah, we would need the county attorney's office to clarify that in writing. In addition to that, the challenge we're also having is that Commissioner Butler's appointment is an appointment not necessarily representing the county, but the transit authority. What we don't want to happen is that individual, Commissioner Butler specifically, who's here representing that LGC, is not excluded from executive session. So she has a right to serve on executive session. So then it comes to 2 people. That would be you and Judge Samaniego.
So this would basically allow the 3 of us to make that decision.
Sure.
And if there isn't an agreement, then it would be the system.
We're happy to consider it, I think, in the next one, but I think what we have before us currently is the language that we've.
So there is one aspect of the county's proposed changes that I want y'all to consider, which is that method puts a lot of power in that particular constituency, just from the standpoint of the potential for disrupting or holding up the meeting. I don't think that's going to be a problem with the individuals who would be making that, deciding amongst themselves now. But when we change the bylaws, we have to think about any situation in the future when that might come up. We might be in a situation where there isn't accord between the various members of that other, the entity that is creating the other quorum. And is that going to be disruptive to the TPB's meetings? It's just something that is a consideration that we have to think of.
Representative Gonzalez.
Thank you, Senator. I think in changing bylaws, our goal should always be what is the best governance model? So what is gonna help us arrive at the best decisions for the people? And so what I hear from the county is that there might be people who have the best information and they would be the best insight into that decision. I hear what you're saying, but if I'm, I'm Switzerland and I think, how is the best decision gonna be decided? I think letting whatever entity has the quorum, and right now it is the county, but like you said, it could be another scenario later, letting the people who have the information, the best information, be at the table. And so I hear what you're saying. I guess my question is there a sense of urgency to pass these bylaws in this meeting, or can we table it, look at whatever you're asking for? I think that's fair, and come back next meeting and then do it.
Challenge with that is that it could potentially hold, I'll give you an example. The judge is not able to be here today because the county was not able to post today's agenda on time. Therefore, the judge has to be here. The judge expressed that he also has a voice on the MPO and should have the ability to be here, also enter an executive session. So logistically, it's impeding our ability to move forward. Which is unlike what most MPOs do in the state. And our concern is that if we add this second layer of quorum and we end up having to go into executive session, that executive session has added barriers that's under the control of a third-party government that doesn't allow us to go into executive session. That impedes our ability to move
I'm not disagreeing that we should do bylaw changes. I don't disagree with you. I think we're all in agreement, we want to do bylaw changes. We agree with that. I think the question is, what do those bylaw changes look like that create the best outcomes for the region? And if there's not like a sense of urgency for it to be done this minute.
There is a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
And we've been working on this since August. We've been very accommodating with the county. We've been working on this specific issue in terms of process. Our general counsel offered this as a solution. The county attorney's office has had ample time to review it, several months. We came up with a lot process about a month ago. The county has had ample time. We received new edits yesterday in the evening. Presented today, and that's why it's in front of you, because we want to be transparent. But the county is asking for more, more in part of the process here, as you can see, than was originally intended. So our concern is that if we're not able to come to an agreement, that this body moves forward with the idea that we have a responsibility federally and with state dollars as well. If we can't move forward, then we're impeding our process.
So, and just to add, the urgency is the executive going into executive session. And if we have both county commissioners and the judge here for our meeting, then we can't go into an executive session unless one of them leaves. So we really need to have a process for determining how that works.
We all agree with that. We're just asking for the opportunity to make that decision amongst ourselves first. If we can't come to an agreement, then it would be this other process, the law process. But I guess I don't see how giving us that opportunity to make that decision amongst ourselves first is going to impede us from going into executive.
Can I jump in?
And I agree, Commissioner, that the challenge is that right now, you all may agree, what happens to the MPO if the commissioners do not agree?
Then that's the lot process. So we're not suggesting replacing it with the lot process. We're suggesting giving us the opportunity first before we move on to the lot process.
So
Can I just
Deborah is
answer?
on.
Yeah, just for real
This is
quick.
our general counsel.
Yes.
Hi, everyone. Let me just jump in and I'll say that, we've had, Senator Blanco said, we've had extensive discussions with the county, and those have been, quite amicable to try to come up with a solution that will work, and understanding all the concerns that have been expressed here. I think the MPO can live with the county's last draft, except we have to stick in at least one word to ensure that this process of conferring by the county commissioners happens right away. In other words, if we put in the word immediately as a modifier, so it says if the non-TPB quorum, so that would be in our current situation, the county commissioners court, 3 members that are present. If the non-TPB quorum is unable to reach consensus immediately on which member will leave the TPB meeting, the decision will be made via the lot method. I think, and I think that the county attorneys are okay with that, a time limit. And so I think that means basically y'all will understand what the issue is. You'll look at each other, figure out who is going to step out of the meeting. And that way there's not, and I understand the county attorneys is okay with that issue. I'm getting no issue from them being communicated to me. So I think that would allow the MPO not to be impeded where maybe there's just a debate and, hey, we want to talk about this. Gee, guys, should you go in? Should I go in? And then the MPO is sort of not able to function. If we have just immediately y'all pick, and then we can smoothly go into executive session, then I think we can live with this last round of changes from the county which are just some kind of minor edits to address exactly, Commissioner, what you just said. Give us an opportunity to select amongst ourselves so that we can prioritize the matters that are most important to our constituents. So that's that. I wanted to just share that with that change to the selected language, I think the MPO can live with those last edits.
Deborah, regarding the termination standardization where it says non-TPB quorum, that is new language that is introduced into the bylaws. Is there a problem with that language?
No, I think that is fine. I think what that is just trying to do is accommodate if it were to ever happen that any other, like the city council, for instance, would constitute a quorum or any other entity. So that's, it's not just limiting it to the potential for the county commissioners. It could, on our current facts, for instance, just talk about county commissioners, but it's trying to be a little broader and just contemplate a future situation where there could be a quorum of some other entity, that is meeting as part of our MPO at the same time.
Commissioner O'Regan, did you have any other questions?
No, just actually to your point that you made, Senator, about what happens if one of the members of Commissioners Court who was present and is not present again. So maybe that would be fixed if we remove in the last sentence the word only. We remove that so that it just says the members of the TPB who are first allowed to attend blah 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 shall be allowed to attend future executive sessions on the same matter, except if one is not present. Something like that. Just to your point that you made.
Okay, Deborah, did you get that?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think that the way that you had suggested it before, Commissioner, was that if they weren't present, for instance, if only 2 out of 3 came, and it was only one of the 2 that were present were in the last one, that there wouldn't be a quorum issue in the first place. That's true, but this language is directing who would be attending. So I think that fix probably addresses it altogether. So in the event the TPB enters executive session on the same matter for multiple meetings, only the members of the TPB who were first allowed to enter shall be allowed. And so instead it would say the members of the TPB who were first allowed shall be allowed to enter on this matter. I suppose it would be worthwhile to say in the event the TPB enters executive session on the same matter for multiple meetings, the members of the TPB who were first allowed to enter on that same matter shall be allowed, along with other members of the non-TPB quorum, so long as we're not quite. I don't think that's quite going to do it. I think we need to tweak it a little further.
Okay, well, I think, here's what I'll ask. I think we need the county attorney's office to be more responsive, quicker, so that we can address this, potentially in the next MPO. So I want that to be clear that we need that responsiveness from the county attorney's office, with ample time to provide that information. So.
Well, and might I suggest that this change is not a problem for the next meeting? So that's for subsequent meetings, right? So we could even strike this last sentence altogether and have next meeting finalized language for just this last situation dealing with subsequent TPB meetings. If we struck that last sentence right now, this would provide protection for us at our next TPB meeting.
Mhm.
And we could add in language to deal with, okay, what happens if we go in on a second one? Because there is a concern that needs to be addressed, but the commissioners now raised another issue. What if different people show up?
Right. Okay, well, so that's on the table. This more immediate change to ensure that this doesn't affect us in the next session, but for the rest, I think we could come up with more information. Representative Canales.
Thank you. We may need some help from Mr. Echo on this one as well. It's on that last sentence as well. If someone has participated in an executive session in a prior meeting, that group of two that is allowed in executive session, that is already established, and then one of those folks is not present. It's a day like today where we're at an exact quorum in the meeting. Are we then facing an issue where we have less than a quorum of the TPB in executive session?
Yeah, that could happen.
Well, isn't that what we're trying to resolve by allowing that third member who wasn't present previously to step in, since there won't be a quorum issue? I mean, that's exactly what we're trying to resolve with this last sentence.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly why, right? So we don't want it to just, if one of the members who was previously present can attend, we don't want it to affect quorum. So if the third member who wasn't previously able to attend can now attend, they kind of step in for the other.
Okay.
Well, and one way to fix that would be to say, unless there would not be a quorum of the MPO.
I don't think it should just be limited to only if there's no quorum. I mean, even if there is a quorum, why wouldn't the third member be able to attend if there's only one other member in the meeting, if there isn't a quorum issue?
Okay, well then it could say, and there are only two members of the non-TPB, and there is not a member of the non-TPB quorum present, then, comma.
Yeah.
Okay, let me work on that language and all.
I'm gonna move to table this item.
Sorry, I still have more comments. And then if we're gonna be talking about a time limit, I'd rather, instead of immediately, say something specific. Whether that's 30 seconds or 60 seconds. I worry about then dispute about what immediately means.
Sure. Absolutely.
They're trying to work it out. They can have a reasonable amount of time, and I think, the chair can probably then make the decision afterwards. If the time has elapsed, then we'll draw lots.
And that can say within a reasonable amount of time to be determined by the chair.
Thank you, Deborah. Any other questions?
And then the last thing is just, I don't know if we are adopting or not adopting anything today. I think you're moving the table, but
Table the item.
just to clarify, there's a cutoff sentence. I think it didn't all get copied in the suggested revisions. It just, there's a sentence that ends which may include without saying what it includes.
What page is it?
Well, no, on the handout.
Oh, on this
today. Yeah, about 2/3 of the way down on the suggested revisions from the county. I think it just didn't get copied. It's the top one says which may include writing the names of each of the members and on, but the second one doesn't. If we can correct that in the drafting before we look to adopt anything in a month.
You got that, Deborah, right? Great. Thank you. Anything else, Representative Canales?
That's all, thank you.
Representative Perez.
Mr. Chairman, I mean, if I could be frank, I think this discussion as an example. It's just that this really complicates an already very complicated board. I don't believe that there should be any other member agency that should be allowed to make quorum of their governmental meeting. It raises all kinds of problems, and I would strongly hope that we take this to a vote or have the MPO at least consider this at the next meeting if this is tabled. But I think look what's happened today is that this has the potential to create further quorum issues, and that was the whole point of the bylaw change, was to make it easier for the MPO to make quorum. But now we're going to be dependent on another governmental agency posting, and if they don't, then we're going to have absences that's already going to make quorum more complicated. The other problem it raises is that because we're having two governmental bodies in here, any member of Commissioners Court then has a right to come in here and be a part of this meeting. The county attorney can't deny attendance to any of the other members of Commissioners Court. So you could potentially have the entire body of Commissioners Court here, which I also think is problematic. Then also, there's nothing then stopping the city of El Paso from doing the same thing. So you can have a member of city council being the transit representative or the capital improvements representative or the airport representative. This has, I think, the potential to create all kinds of problems. I think we do need to take it to a vote, prohibiting any member agency from having a quorum and being sure that they appoint other representatives so that it doesn't inhibit us from making quorum, having these issues with executive session. These are exactly the issues we're trying to resolve, and it's creating all other kinds of issues. So I hope we take that to a vote because we need to simplify this. And in all my time here, we've never had this as an issue. It's just never arisen, but I think it's a slippery slope where other entities like the city in particular could do the same thing. So I think we really need to consider that next meeting.
Thank you. Representative Chavez.
No, yeah, thank you, Chairman. I was gonna make the comment that this on-the-fly policy bylaw making is probably not the best way to move forward.
Yeah.
And we should just
And
table it like you suggested. So I second that to make sure that we are keeping in mind everybody's point of view and be more intentional and mindful of what we're trying to move forward with.
sure, and just to be clear, it's not we've been working with the county for several months on this, and quite frankly, the MPO has been extremely accommodating to the county. We've been very flexible for the county to receive these changes last night. I think demonstrates that there's got to be, as our MPO training expressed this morning, intergovernmental coordination and cooperation. I think we need a little bit more coordination and cooperation from the county attorney's office. And we've had these conversations. I've had individual conversations with members of the Commissioners Court and judges, and they've been very productive. So credit to the Commissioners Court on that as well. Any other comments but thank you.
No, I think there's a lot to consider that we've discussed today.
And I agree. I don't think, going over, having our attorneys try to make all these amendments right now as we go is complicating it. Commissioner Butler.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much for your patience and cooperation. I just wanted to address a couple of things. One, our county attorney's office is constrained by the Commissioners Court meeting agenda. So when we received these bylaw changes last Tuesday, our next meeting wasn't posted until yesterday. And so they, by law, had to wait until we met in Commissioners Court to discuss this. So I want to make sure that we understand the timelines that they're constrained under. And so I apologize for getting these revisions late, but that was the only opportunity we had to meet and discuss.
Sure. I think that points to Representative Bettis's concerned about all the third-party government requirements that impede our federal and state requirements to allocate these federal and state funds to projects. It really complicates it. And we're here because the County Transit Authority appointed an elected commissioner, which creates this quorum situation. And that was the position of the Transit Authority. That's their decision. We'll respect that. Moving forward, I think this demonstrates how complicated that gets. Appreciate that. And thank you for explaining that.
Well, I like to think about this as growing pains, which is a good thing. I think our transit system, as you'll hear later this morning, is becoming self-sufficient and rolling out of the county. And so that's really the reason why I'm here and the reason why we're having this discussion today. But I also think, just to be clear, the county attorney's office didn't fail to post a quorum. We were trying to, we're learning too, right? We're trying to make as many accommodations as possible. The judge wasn't supposed to be here this morning. He had a conflict. And so that's why the quorum wasn't posted, because there were only 2 of us that were going to be here. And so moving forward, we've already, discussed that we'll post a quorum no matter who's going to be here or who won't be here, to avoid this situation with the judge again. I think this is all, we can resolve all of these issues if we just talk and understand that our purpose is to represent the region, right? The training also said that. We're not limited by who can be here, who has a seat at the table. As long as we can resolve these minor issues, I think we'll be okay. And we all understand, the difficulties of working within a government system. And I think we're all on the same page that we want to make it work.
Sure. Just to note, Deborah, if I may, I think, and I don't disagree with a lot of you're saying, the challenge that we're facing. And to note, in about a year from now, the LGC will be its own entity, reducing the number of elected commissioner members of the commissioner's court. That seat belongs to that county transit authority under federal regulations. At that point, the county commissioner's court will not have a 3rd seat on the MPO, not according to our bylaws. So I want this body to note that in the future, if there is a move to add a 3rd elected seat on the county, we're gonna have to revisit this situation again and these scenarios and figure that out. But as it stands right now, you represent the transit authority. In a year from now, that will change. It could change depending on who the transit authority decides to appoint. But it's been complicated. Representative Gonzalez.
I want to start with the statement I said in the very beginning. I think bylaws are the structure for good governance. And I really appreciate what you said, Commissioner Butler. But I don't think having conversations about navigating changes is negative. I think that's a positive. And so for people who are saying like, oh, it's so complicated now, I think our job as elected officials is to address kind of these things, complications, and how is the best representation at the table. And so I'm really glad that we're having this conversation. I'm glad that we're doing it and we're having a process. I also very much believe in democracy, and I think all of us do. That's why we're sitting here. And so if an entity chooses a person, I don't think it's my place to say, entity, no, you can't have that person. I think that's the way this works. And so I wouldn't begrudge the city of El Paso. I wouldn't tell the town of Sarelli to do whatever. That they are independent entities that then have these seats at the table. And so I want to respect democracy in the process and then figure out how to make this work in the best way for the people. And so I just want to say I'm appreciative of the conversation. Like Rep. Chavez said, and I don't think this is a negative. I think this is actually a positive, and I think our bylaws will be stronger for the future by having these incorporations.
Sure, I don't think anyone has expressed that this is a negative process. Okay, anybody else?
I just wanted to say that, I appreciate the county attorneys, working through it. I think it is hard, admittedly, to contemplate all the variables when you're having another entity also convening in the context of the MPO. And that very situation as has been expressed, makes it complicated and makes us have to think through a lot of complicated iterations of attendance. And so that's just the situation. But we'll work with the county attorneys as we have going forward to iron out some more of those iterations and account for them and hopefully get you all back something as soon as possible on the bylaws so that we can adopt them at the very next meeting. And I appreciate everybody's patience with all of this.
We have a motion on the table motion to table. Is there a second?
Second.
I had a second.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, item 6, discussion and action to consider approval of the calendar year 2026 Transportation Policy Board meeting schedule. So the schedule, the proposed dates were in the backup. We did put an eye on all of the holidays and spring break and Easter and all the things that tend to create problems for us if we don't pay attention to them. So we tried to work around all of those. Just a reminder that typically the TPB meetings are scheduled for the Friday after the executive committee meets, which is the Friday 1 week later than when the TPAC meets. There's no easy way of explaining it. Usually that falls on the third Friday of the month, but not always. It depends on when the month begins. So these are the dates, and we would like to get them set in stone so that we can make the request to the city to reserve the dates and get the agreement going for this space for next year.
Chair, move to approve.
We have a
Second.
motion to approve. We have a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
All right, we'll move on to reports and discussion. Item 7, presentation on El Paso Transportation Authority services and status update. And online we have the director, John Ando. Go ahead, John.
Oh, Mr. Chair, if I could just introduce Mr. Ando, just to say a few words.
Sure.
So thank you to the board for allowing ETA to come in and provide updates about what ETA has been doing over the last year. I know you received a presentation from Mr. Banales last year at some point, and we've been incredibly busy at ETA and really kicked ETA into overdrive in June when we hired Mr. Ando. He brings 25 years of experience working with transit systems of every size across the country. And especially now when we're in a period of transition at the county and with ETA, we're really, really lucky to have him here. Over the last few months, he's really streamlined a lot of administrative processes within ETA as we prepare to roll out of the county. But he's also worked externally with our partners here at the table to make sure that everybody's included in transit conversations. So thank you, Mr. Ando, and thank you for the board for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ando. I think you're on mute. Frozen. You're gonna have to use sign language.
Do we want to jump to the next item while,
We can go ahead and jump and
while John's getting the technical
Like Mr.
details worked out.
for the next TPB.
And-
Speedy? Okay, I won't have to do this intro again.
It's a great intro. You can.
Well, let's move on to item 8, and if we get to the end of the agenda and we haven't figured it out, then we'll just do it next time. So item 8, report and discussion on TxDOT's Highway Safety Improvement Program, call for safety projects seeking candidate projects for fiscal year 2029. And we have Mr. Jose Madrid from the El Paso District.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jose Madrid. I'm with TxDOT, El Paso District. I want to thank you all for giving us this platform to talk to you about the Highway Safety Improvement Program. If we can get the slide decks. But just thanks a lot for having us here. We already presented to the TPAC. We're already meeting with some local entities to cover some details, and we're always open to have more meetings with you all. So to cover you all, this year's, for 2026's call for Highway Safety Improvement Program, the first action is to see what our emphasis areas are, what is our region going through with serious injuries and fatal crashes. So we can go to the second slide. I can show you all a breakdown of what that looks like in our region. So what we have to do is compare our data versus the state. So we want to know, is there anything different within our region that is different from the state? See the patterns, what we should be doing differently. And when we compare, the blue bar shows the fatality emphasis areas that are in El Paso District. The red shows the state percentages. So we break them down by the type of crashes to kind of get the patterns, what's going on within our city and our region. So on speed, rebel lane departure, we have impairment, pedestrians, we break it down. So as you can see from the yellow squares, they show where we are higher than the state. So we focused on those when it comes to scoping new projects, when it comes to safety. There are some where we are flip-flop, where we are doing better than the state, which is good, which is behavioral. We're seeing a good stats where it comes to seatbelts. It's a good improvement. But we are seeing some for significantly higher for motorcycles. And of course, intersections has been one that's kind of been really significant, as you can see with the big difference. And then speed. Speed is big within our areas. So we have to get a feel for what's going on in the region while we're coming up with safety projects. Next slide. So what's the purpose of this program? So what it basically is we want to significantly reduce fatal and serious injury crashes. That's the basic part of it. What it is a federally funded, it's state administered, so TxDOT pretty much manages the program and the funding. What we do is we establish targets to make sure that we're meeting as a state to kind of report back to the feds. And then if we don't meet certain targets, we got to do some alternate planning and show how we're going to improve those targets. That's the gist of it. It's a federally funded, state administered. Next slide, please. So we have the different project types when it comes to our goals and how to get there. What I came to talk to you about is the off-system parts. So TxDOT does have on-system funding for this program, but I want to talk to you about the off-systems. This is any roadway that is not TxDOT. And what this program does, what we're looking for is, we already have projects programmed from 2026 to 2028, thanks to previous participation. So really thankful for that. We are seeking projects for fiscal year 2029. The amount that we are funding for that year that was allocated, budgeted for our region was $766,000. The basic rule is no project can be under 20,000. That's a real basic rule. There are some work codes that are eligible for it, which I can cover some quick examples. And the eligible crash years that we're looking at is 2022 to 2024. So that's what we're looking at to fund a fiscal year 29 project. Next slide, please. So some examples so you can give you an idea of what kind of projects come out of this program. We have new traffic signals. They come about, lighting improvements. It could be roundabouts have been a big influx, which we're happy to see. We're starting to see some turn lanes. It could be something as simple as that, a little bit of payment for a turn lane. That's a safety improvement. There's been pedestrian helper beacons, which are like hawk systems. Pedestrian improvements is one of the ones that you're focusing on, so we're seeing more of those types of projects. These are some examples. I want to highlight 3 of them that we've done in the past. The top one is a City of El Paso project that was just raised medians, channelizing curves. This intersection had a lot of crashes, which I'll show you the numbers. And all we did was put some channelizations. We saw some good improvements. The bottom left picture is a county project that was widening Ascension for a portion. We saw some runoff to roads, and we saw some improvements there. The bottom right is some improvements along Canasto, which is the town of Horizon. So I want to highlight kind of some numbers that we've seen through this program funded and how it's performing. So we already have enough data to show the after. So we can go to the next slide. We can show you some of those numbers, what they look like. On the left, you'll see we plotted all of the crashes for the channelization related to intersections only. So this is only at Litrevino, at La Quinta. You see throughout the years, we had kind of a steady number above the tens. And there's one intersection that's just median, not signalized. You see we had a steady from 2015 on. The yellow dash bar indicates kind of where the project completed, and we can see the after effects now. The bottom shows 2025 where there's 0 crashes. So we're already at October, and we're still seeing 0 crashes at this one intersection. Relatively cheap when it comes to just funding, and it's seeing some really good results. So that's the City of El Paso location. The middle one is the Canasto lighting for the town of Horizon. You see kind of the steady numbers well when we just do dark condition crashes, we just see those types. And 2025, again, 0 crashes in the whole, in 10 months. So good results with that as well. The right side shows the widening Ascension. You see the improvements there too, where we're going to get kind of bringing them down yearly, and that's the goal out of every single improvement. So they're not that expensive in the work. That's what we want to do, just always be reducing crashes. And this program has been helping out these locations specific. There's a lot more I can talk about. You want to meet individually, we can show you the results for some of them that have been completed for a while already. Next slide, please. So what does it entail? It's a packet, pretty simple. We'll help out with this. You all want are interested, we'll help you out throughout this whole process. There's always required a quick submission form, location information, basic stuff, conceptual. We do need itemized estimate, which we can assist with as well. So all we want to know is what are you interested in and how can we help you? That's pretty much the basic gist when it comes to the packet. And the last slide, I want to give you all a timeline where we're at. The timeline for the call for projects, we already met to know the new revisions and what's going to be funded. We're asking for the local governments to submit us your project ideas, just a concept. What are you interested in? Where? What are the limits, more or less? What are you targeting? And then we're asking for that to be submitted. It could just be a list format, Excel, however you want to put it in, by October 24th. And if you want to meet with us individually, we'll have a workshop with you all to show you all what the problem areas you are, some recommendations that's based on the data itself, and we can keep brainstorming. We're open for that for the next 2-3 weeks so we can get to work with the packets. And then the big deadline they want to provide you all is we do need to wrap up the packets by December 5th. So those are the quick deadlines that we have so that we can get these projects programmed and funded for that fiscal year 2029. So that's really a quick, dirty book kind of outline of what the project is. That's all I have to present to you all. You have any questions when it comes to this awareness for this program?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so we can jump to item 9, and then we'll do that really quick. And then if John is ready, oh, it looks like he is.
Can you hear me
able to-
okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm so
so we're-
sorry. I was operating off the internet and I should have just downloaded the app. So I will do this as quickly as I was told to do this. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Well, I want to welcome everyone to the El Paso Transportation Authority. I'm just going to give you a summary of who we are and what we're up to. This is our mission statement. Do you see the mission statement slide?
Yes.
All right. And basically our goal is to provide safe, reliable, and accessible transportation connecting the rural communities of El Paso County to the city of El Paso. The El Paso Area Transportation Services Local Government Corporation was created under the Texas Transportation Code, Section 431. It was created by El Paso County. It is presently staffed by El Paso County Transit Operations Department. The Rio Grande Council of Governments is our fiscal and administrative agent, and Kemp Smith is providing our legal services. And our mission and goal is to provide public transportation services in El Paso County outside of the city limits of El Paso in a unified approach. Our history started back in 1994 with the completion of the transit plan, and the ETA was officially formed in December of 2020 by El Paso County. Clint and Anthony joined EPAS, and we rebranded the service as ETA in 2024, and then I was hired in 2025 as the first executive director. For our administration, we presently have 12 members on our board of directors. 3 are from El Paso County. 1 is from Clint, Anthony, Vinton, Horizon City, and San Elizario. We do have an ex officio from El Paso MPO, Sun Metro, Socorro, and WETEP. We have a staff of 5. 1 is presently vacant at this time. We did form an Access Advisory Committee of volunteer citizens. We do contract all of our services. TransDev operates the primary share of ETA services. Enterprise Mobility provides our van pool program. All Aboard America operates the New Mexico Park and Ride Express. We provide services 7 days a week. Our Paseo fixed route service operates on 6 routes, primarily every 90 to 150 minutes, connecting all the cities outside of the city of El Paso, and we connect to Sun Metro services at their transit centers. Our new on-delay microtransit service is available in Clinton, San Elizario. We do have paratransit service called Access that operates within a 3/4 mile radius of our fixed routes, and also takes people directly into El Paso for trips as part of an interlocal with Sun Metro. Our van pool operates countywide and takes people to jobs throughout the county or outside of the county. Our New Mexico Park and Ride Express connects El Paso, Anthony, Texas to Las Cruces, New Mexico. And all of our buses have bike racks, cameras, ramps or lifts, Wi-Fi, heating, and air conditioning. This kind of gives you an idea of our Paseo service. And this is the Paseo network of where you see our routes operating from. And primarily we terminate at Sun Metro Transit Centers. And we plan to add 4 future routes in the future. Access is our paratransit service, and that's what our Access van looks like. And our Access operates within the 3/4 mile radius of our Paseo routes, as well as into the city of El Paso. On delay is a new door-to-door service. Think of it like Uber. You can call us, and call us within 15 minutes. In 30 minutes, we'll send a vehicle, and we'll take you anywhere you want to go in San Elizario and Clint. We also take people into Socorro, and we also take people to trips at the Mission Valley Transit Center and El Paso Community College Mission Del Paseo campus. This is our Vamonos van pool program, where people can basically coordinate with Enterprise, get a van. We subsidize their trips at $500 per month per van. And it's a great way for people to commute to large employers throughout the county and beyond. And this is our New Mexico Park and Ride Express, as I mentioned, goes to Anthony in Las Cruces, New Mexico, Monday through Friday. This kind of gives you just a summary of our system-wide performance. This past fiscal year, we carried 572,802 trips. Previous year, we carried 559,126 trips. So we're on the growth of carrying more passenger trips on our transit system. And this gives you an idea on our statistics from FY24. Our budget last fiscal year 24 was about 9.1 million. 54% of our revenues come from state, 6.9% from state, and 39% from local, county, and the municipal governments contributing to ETA. And this is a more summary of our statistics. We're in the move of adding more facilities throughout El Paso County. We're starting to install bus shelters throughout the county in all of our jurisdictions, replace all of our bus stop signage with new signage, and get away from a flag stop system. And then we've also, in conjunction with TxDOT, in the process of planning and constructing a transit operations maintenance facility, which would be in unincorporated El Paso County on Windermere Avenue. We did submit a grant to the Federal Transit Administration for $15 million So we are hopeful that we'll be able to get that grant, and the county is contributing 1.5 million for land acquisition costs for this facility. We connect to multiple transit systems, particularly Sun Metro, Socorro's new microtransit service, South Central Regional Transit District in El Paso and in Anthony, and then Roadrunner Transit in Las Cruces, New Mexico, in addition to Greyhound, Amtrak, and FlixBus. We are getting involved with technology. If you want to see our routes in real time, you can download the Transit and Move It app. Soon you'll be able to pay your fare through the app, book on-delay routes, and then you can also track our routes on Google and Apple Maps. We have a lot of upcoming projects. The big projects that we have, in summary, is we're adding passenger amenities, enhancing our services, entering into new contracts with our private providers, forming new partnerships with Sun Metro. We're on the process of separating from El Paso County, and our goal to do that is September 1 of 26. That's assuming that we will have Federal Transit Administration funding from the urban area, as well as Rural Transit District status from TxDOT. Adding 4 additional administrative positions, continuing to build and form a relationship with Socorro, transit operations and maintenance facility, CNG bus additions, possibly bike share partnership with the RMA, and more technology to make transit easy to use in the rural areas. We've had a lot of accomplishments. This is a summary of our accomplishments that you can see in your board packet, but we've been working hard to build a true countywide public transit system over the past year and beyond. This is my contact information. If you have any questions about ETA, please reach out to me, and I'm happy to talk to you more about ETA. Thank you very much for allowing me to present. Happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Members, any questions? Thank you, Mr. Ando. Very exciting what's happening.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right, item 9 is the executive director's report. We've got 3 topics here. We can go through them really quick. I'm going to let Eduardo talk on A, which is the IBC strategic plan update.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, so for the IBC report, or the IBC strategic plan, we continue working with a consultant team on the existing conditions scenario. That's it's quite a bit of work, but that's important because it's going to set the sort of like the baseline conditions for the other scenarios that we develop, to test different different options of building perhaps a new port of entry, or changing the operations of a port of entry to make them all trucks or all private vehicles and so on. The other important thing is that there is a meeting this coming Monday in Ciudad Juarez that is being organized by CODER, which is one of the economic development organizations in Juarez. I hope that many of you received invitations for this, but it's a workshop. They're calling it the second roundtable workshop. The first one was held about 2 years ago in El Paso. They coordinated that with the community foundation, and so this is sort of like an effort. We are obviously participating on that, although they're the ones that are organizing the event. So I hope that many of you will be there. I hope to see you there on Monday. So with that, that's all I have right now for the IBC. Harrison, you want to take the Borderplex Safe Mobility Plan?
Yes. So very quick update on the Borderplex Safe Mobility Plan. We just completed our public comment period for the final document last week. So all that's left is to give it one more run through and incorporate any comments that we received. We did not receive very many comments, so we're taking that as a sign that we did a good job. But you'll see it for adoption at the board meeting next month. And then the last item is the RMS 2052 MTP development update. There's a lot going on with the development of the MTP. We have been working over the last few months with, at the staff level, with all of the entities to get closer to finalizing our project list. And that's obviously one of the most important parts of the MTP. So expect to see that as well at the board for approval next month. In the meantime, we are reviewing the first draft chapters of the MTP, and we have already begun the modeling, coding the biggest, the most important projects and the ones that we're most confident on where they're going to live in that project list, so that we can get the model done as quickly as possible and start the emissions analysis, which is obviously also very important for getting the MTP approved at the federal level. So these are the activities that we're doing right now, and you'll see some more things on the agenda next month.
Okay, any questions? All right, we've lost quorum.
We have.
So nothing new, right? So we'll see everyone at 9 a.m. November 21st.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Chairman, it's always a pleasure.